Hi everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni, and this is my series on how God has blessed me and gotten me through this time since Bill died in a car accident. This that I'm working on, this has nothing to do with anything. I'm just working on Franken paper because it's hard for me to just sit here and not do anything. And I figure it also gives you something to look at, but you could also just not watch the video and just listen if you want to. But anyway, so most of the time I've got a basket and I'm just drawing out from random, but today I didn't feel like playing, so I dug through. I didn't dig through, I pulled things out and opened them until I found one that I liked, that I felt like talking about. So it's my game, I get to change the rules, right? To be honest, I've been a little depressed today. Not a little, I've been a lot depressed today. But some of it has to do with the fact that I have not been able to sleep. I work early mornings during the week, and then on Fridays and Saturdays I also work at night, and then there's not enough time to sleep very well in between that, and so I'm pretty much useless on Saturdays and Sundays, but usually I can get at least a little bit of sleep, and today I haven't been able to get any, and I got 3 hours of sleep last night, and I have to teach tonight. So yeah, I'm just not in the best mood, and I thought if I did this and I talked about something good, then it might help me. So anyway, so the one that I finally drew out that I thought, yeah, I can talk about that, was the troopers. And I'm speaking about the Tennessee State Troopers who helped me in various ways during all of it. First, of course, there was the trooper who showed up at my door to tell me that Bill had died. He was kind of a young guy, and at first I wanted to talk to him outside because I have dogs. I had 2 dogs at that time, but I especially have Penny, who just wants to like jump all over everybody. But he said, no, we need to go inside. And then I wanted to stand up, but he wanted me to sit down, which of course only made me feel more like it was, but he was right. I needed to sit down, but it's just like, when somebody says, I need to talk to you, you need to sit down, it's bad news. And when a trooper shows up at your door, you already know it's bad news. But he was just so sweet and so kind. And he took his hat off like a good Southerner. And he was just like, pretty much just right to the point. He cushioned it a little bit, but he just came straight to the point, which I really appreciated because I kind of already knew what had happened. I just needed somebody to tell me that that was it, and not that I wanted to hear the news, but you just get to a point where something horrible has happened and you just need to not be left wondering. And so anyway, so he told me that, and I think I screamed. I don't remember screaming when he was here, but I think that in my videos after, soon after Bill died, I think that I mentioned screaming then, so I must have. I know that for a few days I had this horrible, horrible scream that just came from like deep inside my being and just came out, and that was kind of scary. I don't know if it has anything to do with the church across the street not being willing to send anybody over to help me with stuff. I had offered to pay somebody to come once every couple weeks to help me take stuff down my steps, like garbage and stuff, because I have mobility issues, and they weren't comfortable doing that. So maybe that was because they heard me screaming. I don't know. Anyway, so so he talked to me, and I think he might have asked me if I knew of like any problems that might have caused it or anything, and I didn't. At that point, I did later think about the fact that there had been some handcuffs found in the truck, that it ended up being the police had arrested a guy at Walmart where Bill was working the night before, and had left the handcuffs. He escaped, and he had left the handcuffs in Bill's truck, and Bill discovered it the next morning while he was getting ready. But that was ruled out as being part of the cause, so that had nothing to do with it. But he didn't question me too much. He knew that I was falling apart and I couldn't think or anything. So he was just very, very sweet, very nice. And he wanted me to call somebody, and I tried calling a few people and couldn't get a hold of anybody. And I finally did get a hold of my mom, and so he wanted me to have somebody come over, and I didn't really feel like I had anybody that I could call on to do that. I do have someone that I can call, but you know, I didn't feel comfortable. I have a very hard time asking people to do things for me, and there's just like, it's just really hard for me to ask people. And so my parents said that they would come right away. They were in Minnesota at the time. My mom was walking across the U.S., and so they had their motorhome. And so, you know, I wanted them to take their time coming down because my husband had just been killed in an auto accident. I didn't want them to rush and, you know, be too tired or anything and, you know, end up in an accident. So, and then I can't remember what else he said to me, but he said he gave me the phone number of the trooper who was there and said that I could call him anytime. And he was so sweet. It was like he didn't want to leave me because I was going to be alone. And so he was just very sweet, but I said, you know, there just isn't anybody who can come stay with me. And so I'll be on the phone with my mom. And so, you know, he just had to accept that. And so he finally did leave. But he told me that he and his family, he said, I don't know what kind of religion you have or anything, but I just want you to know that my family and I will be praying for you. And that really helped. You know, that was the first person who told me that they would be praying for me from this, and it meant so much. Sorry, I thought I could do this one without crying, but that was kind of stupid, huh? So I can't remember if it was that day. I think it was that day that I called the trooper who had been there, and he gave me a few of the details of the accident. At that point, you know, they didn't know what exactly had happened. They knew that they had some video footage, and I'll be talking about that in a different video. But, you know, and he said he did not want me to, like, it was over 2 hours away, but it wasn't the distance that was the problem. He said he didn't want me to come up there and, you know, like, see Bill's body or try to identify it or anything because he looked really bad, and they didn't want me to see Bill that way. They wanted me to remember him the way that I remembered him, which I was really, really thankful for that. I felt very protected by the troopers. They were just really wonderful. They also didn't want me to see the videos, but I did end up seeing those a couple weeks later, and that ended up being good, but I'll talk about that, like I said, in another video. And this guy told me he was going to keep his phone on and for a few days, and I could call him anytime, day or night, if I had questions, if I had anything that I needed to tell him, if I just wanted to vent, if I wanted to yell, if I wanted to cry, whatever, which was pretty awesome. I did find out later from somebody at the station that that's what they're trained to do, but that doesn't make it any less, you know, wonderful that they are like that. I mean, these guys, it's more than a job for them, I really think. I really, really got that impression from all of our dealings with the troopers that they genuinely are in this to help people. And they're just really, really wonderful. So my next dealing with the troopers was about a week later when we went up to, my parents had arrived, and we went up to the station. We had a few things that we needed to take care of. We had to go to the hospital and take care of things there. We had to go to the funeral home. We had to go to the station. I don't think we had to go to the trooper station for anything, but I wanted to. I wanted to talk to the guy I had been talking to on the telephone who had been at the scene, and I had decided by then that I wanted to see the video, which I'm not going to talk about right now. So the guy who was at the scene, and I don't think I'm supposed to say his name, so I'm not going to, but he was wonderful, And he just walked me through everything. He answered all my questions. My dad, of course, had questions, things that I wouldn't have thought of right then because I was pretty out of it, but he knew that I would want to know. And then I had asked to see the video, and so he showed those to us, and I could tell he was really watching my reaction to it, making sure that I was going to be okay and stuff. I mean, I did kind of fall apart. It was just really startling. And so he was just really, really helpful. And everybody there at the station was so kind and so sympathetic. And, they see so many deaths, a lot more accidents than I thought because I was asking them about it. And it still seems to affect them. They're human. They're very, very human. And I don't know how they manage to deal with it, because those things obviously affect them. And yeah, so I don't know that I really have anything else to say except God bless those troopers. They're amazing. And one of the troopers almost was hit by Bill when he was coming down the hill. And again, I'll talk about that at a different one. But yeah, they were wonderful. They were so helpful. And I went up another time a week or two later, and because I had more questions that I wanted to talk to them in person, and that trooper was there for me and everything, and yeah, they were just really, really awesome, just very awesome. So God bless the troopers. God bless those guys. They've really got a tough job, and I really appreciate them. And they were one of the blessings that God gave me to get me through this. All right, I love you all. I will talk to you later. Let's pray for each other, okay?